Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of NB Bassin. I am your host, Donald Patterson, coming to you this morning from a beautiful, almost spring New Brunswick morning. I say it's beautiful while I sit inside in my garage, sitting on my boat, dreaming, I guess you could say at this point, but it's getting closer every day, folks. Spring is definitely in the air, and it won't be long, and we will be hitting the open water and setting some hooks on some beautiful New Brunswick smallmouth and getting our season underway. I want to start the show out this week once again by thanking the companies that do all that they do for me, and I do all that I can for them. So Fishbomb Outfitters, Southern Yankee Baits, War Dog Lures, and Northern Michigan Outfitters. Without those companies, I wouldn't have achieved what I have achieved up to this point in my I'm not sure illustrious is the right word just yet, but in my fishing career and, hobby as it may be, there's still a lot of time and effort put into it. So I want to thank those companies for everything they've done. I guess the big thing this past week, if you're a bass angler and you weren't watching it, I guess the only question I'd have to ask is why. But the Bassmaster Classic. And what a classic it was. The second Canadian ever to qualify for the classic, Mr. Charles Sim. I want to tip my hat to him. Struggled day one. Still got a couple fish in the boat. But it is what it is. It's bass fishing. Charles' attitude. Utmost professionalism. As a Canadian angler, I could not be more proud. He went back out day two, put his head down, went to work, living a dream. Something that, as Dave Mercer said in the broadcasts on day two at the weigh-in, less than 600 people have ever had the opportunity to do so. So he's living a dream. And Charles went out there with a huge smile, a great sense of humor, and a great sense of professionalism. Had a much more respectable day two. Missed the cut, not by a lot, 1 pound. Missed the cut for day five, for the top 25 for day three. But still an unbelievable performance by Mr. Charles Sim. Well, like I said, only the second Canadian to ever have the opportunity to fish the Classic. So my hat's off to him. And, needless to say, my hat's off to Mr. Edwin Evers. Almost 30 pounds, 29 and change on day three to dominate that day. Jason Christie led from day one, day two, going into day three. Not a huge lead, but had a decent lead. And Edwin Evers just blows the competition out of the water. So Oklahoma boys on Grand Lake of the Cherokees in Oklahoma, finishing 1-2. It was just when they read off that 29-pound number, I know the people sitting in my house, our jaws just dropped. It was a pretty impressive display by Mr. Evers. Definitely one of the greatest of this generation. Arguably, as in any sport, arguably one of the greatest ever. So, and to do this, in a field that started out with, the likes of KVD. Aaron Martin's coming off of his domination of last season. It just goes to show you that in bass fishing, you just never know. If you have some time on the water and some experience and some knowledge, today might be your day. So, I guess I'm going to turn that over into one of my topics for this week is the mental, the mental side of tournament angling. Professionalism and preparedness. You can have hours upon hours of experience on a particular body of water. You can have gone out and you could have fished that for fun hundreds, if not thousands of times. But if you go into a tournament on that body of water without the right mental state, that experience doesn't carry half the weight that it should. That experience should be invaluable. But if you go in with second guessing yourself, you can go too far in either direction. You can go into it second guessing yourself and move too fast, move too often. Or you could be the opposite way. You could go into it too arrogant, too confident, and not stick to your original game plan when your game plan's not working. And sticking to your game plan is great. That's part of what we have to do, is we have to make a plan. But don't defeat yourself. Now, I didn't get to watch all of the live coverage from day 3, but I had a couple conversations with some friends of mine who were watching it, and the reports I was hearing were that, and I don't want to point any names because these are top-notch professional anglers, but it happens to everybody. It doesn't matter if it's your first time out or you've been out there for years. They heard that they were behind the 8 ball, so to speak. This one particular individual. And he got rattled. He was in a very competitive spot. He was contending for the tournament. And when he heard that one of his competitors got a significant bag, some significant catches, this angler allowed himself to be rattled. And then he started moving too fast. He was, 6, 7, 8 times. I'm not sure what the number was, but I don't want to say that he beat himself because we weren't there. But from what I understand and what I heard, he may have played a role in his own demise. And I can speak from personal experience on this one. 2015, New Brunswick Sport Fishing Association Championship. My partner Jason and I sitting in 3rd place after day 1. Well, any of you who know the NBSFA format, we fished 2 different bodies of water for our championship. Day 1 is in one place, day 2 is in another. We shifted bodies of water. And it's a body of water that we don't do as well on. Day 1 is our home water. It's where we're the most comfortable. Day 2 wasn't. And we started second guessing ourselves. We beat ourselves. We jumped around too much. We didn't put the time in. We didn't listen when other anglers who were further back that wanted to see us do well in our rookie championship. We didn't take the advice we were given. Well, not everybody's going to give you that advice, so that's not something you can rely on. But we let our own minds carry us away. We said, we're just going to go out and fish and have fun. This is our first time here, no pressure. Yeah, we lied. The pressure got to us in a big way. And we cracked. And I don't know any other way to say it. I hate to admit it, but we cracked. And as it played out, we ended up falling all the way from 3rd place to 22nd, a 19-spot drop from day 1 to day 2. There was 40 teams qualify for the championship. And yes, we were in our rookie season on this tour. So am I going to say that I'm disappointed with 22nd in the championship out of 40 teams that qualified? If you had asked me before the championship, I would say, no, I'd be satisfied with that. If you had asked me after day 1, sitting 3rd place after day 1, if I was to be satisfied with finishing 22nd, not a chance. Not a chance, because on day 1, we proved that we could put fish in the boat. Day 2, we beat ourselves. What can I do different? What can we do different? Well, all kinds of stuff we can do different. It is a competition. You can get yourself in the zone, so to speak. It's a tricky little subject Because, yes, it's competition, but no, none of us are making our living at it. So is it life or death? No. Do you shut down and stop talking to your friends? I'd like to think not. I'm not saying that you can't limit what you talk about. Try and keep yourself focused, especially at that point in the season. You're down to championship weekend, and it doesn't matter if it's a little club series or, for these guys, the Classic or the Forest Wood Cup. If it's your biggest tournament of the season and you're in contention, you're either taking it serious or you're not. And that depends on you as an angler. Some guys legitimately are out there just for fun, couldn't care less. And no, I'm not saying I get mad when we lose. My partner and I have only been bass angling competitively for a couple years, and competitive angling total, we're going into our 5th year. But I'm still competitive. I still want to go out there and do my best. I may not beat the field, but I want to improve on what I did last time out. And there's where my mindset has to be. I don't necessarily have to beat the field. I have to beat myself. But that being said, I also can't defeat myself. Fishing is a very psychological sport. Very much psychological. There's so many decisions to be made. You're not reacting to something that you can see. You may look on your graphs and on your finders. You look on your electronics and you see the marks. You don't know for sure that that's a bass. You can go by experience and knowledge and say, characteristically sitting in a bass-like spot, or they're schooled up in a bass-like way, and you can be fairly confident, but you still, unless you are on clear water sight fishing, you're not seeing your quote-unquote opponent. Because at the end of the day, the other people on the other boats are not your opponent. The fish are. The fish are, because you've got to catch the fish. It doesn't matter what the other teams or individuals do. If you don't catch fish, you're not competitive. So, don't look at the other men and women on the lake or on the river. They're your competition once you step on dry land for weigh-in. But from 8 till 3 or 7 to 3 or 7 to 4, whatever your tournament runs, they're not your competition. Those largemouth or smallmouth or whatever you're fishing, they're your competition. And it sucks. Because here we are, the great and mighty human beings, and there's times we get outsmarted by these little fish. But it's the nature of the beast. It just is part of the game. So what do you do to fix it? When you psychologically beat yourself, what do you do to fix it? Go back to what you know. For a little while at least, try and get back into your comfort zone. If you're rattled, stop. Put your rod down. Yes, it's a tournament. You're on a clock. I can't afford not to be fishing. No, but you can't afford to be fishing stupid either. Put your rod down. Have a sandwich. Have a bottle of water. If you've got a thermos, pour a cup of coffee. Whatever you've got, have a little snack. Just get your bearings. Slow down. 9 chances to 10, it's speed is what's killing you. If you're fishing too fast, you're not covering water the way you are, slow down. Take a look at your baits. If you've moved to a new spot, it may be a spot that you've pre-fished, or it may be a spot that you just stumbled on that looked good. What are you throwing? Are you throwing a search bait? Or are you throwing something that worked in the hole 20 miles away 2 days ago and thinking, oh, well, it's